wonderful, fantastic, lurid, macabre. These are the stories of my life. Improbable though they may appear, it must be understood that each reminiscence is rooted in fact. Some of these tales will amaze you, some may shock you, some may even horrify you. The truth is stranger than fiction, so prepare a handsome repast and proceed with caution. Today is the 5th of June, a very sacred day for me, as some of you on this channel may know, and it will most likely, this video will be uploaded this coming Saturday. So anyway, welcome to a new installment after much delay of a snack and a story with yours truly. Tonight's meal is a you could see there it's a sandwich, or as I call a sandwich, with salami and some or another type of Italian ham with some cheese on there, like provolone, I think, which my co-worker made for me, which is very nice. And then to wash it down, I have my favourite squirt. So, anyway, today's story is kind of a... it shouldn't take that long to tell, but it's kind of a, I guess you could say it's kind of a semi-ghost story, which is something that I've never shared with you before. So I suppose I shall get into it right now. So, and this bread is sourdough, by the way. So, another reason why I haven't really been posting that many videos was because last weekend I went up with my family to a place called Sundance Meadows, which is a kind of like a timeshare camping type of a place. It's almost like a ranch, but it's also a place where one could store their recreational vehicle, their RVs, and also there's a bunkhouse there and such where you can rent out rooms or for $1 a night, which is pretty neat. And we spent 3 days there. Had quite a bit of fun, and also there was no internet, so that's another reason why I couldn't post any videos, but it's neither here nor there. This story I'm going to tell takes place there, and it happened, we'd only been there once before, which was about somewhere around, I believe, the early teens, like 2011 or 12 or something like that, maybe earlier. And, at the time, I sort of really didn't think it all that remarkable, because I thought we were going to like a sort of a wilderness type of a resort, when really it was sort of like almost like an Australian horse station or something, except it was in Granger, California. And I myself called it an artificial wilderness, which now I sort of renounce that theory, and it's actually a very nice place. But anyway, as I mentioned earlier, there is an area on this reserve, past the bunkhouse, through the ranch, past the aeroplane that's kept there, and in the mountains, that's devoted to the storage of RVs. And I suppose unofficially, people who had memberships there, they had dubbed this place the graveyard. And on a recent drive-through, or drive-by, or whatever, as I said last weekend, I can kind of see why, because some of the vehicles there, they even have boats there too, were not necessarily, some of them were in a state of terrible disrepair, and have been there for more than 50 years. And I assume that most people forget that they have them, and they sort of just like lay to waste in that curious wasteland. So hence the I suppose the nomenclature. Anyway, we did some exploring, as I said, back the first time we went, and I didn't really think much of it, because, as I said, I thought it was like a fake arse wilderness, in my opinion, back then. So, when we got back to our campsite, we were doing our thing, and then it slowly elapsed, or transitioned rather, into the evening. And my brother, who was there at the time, had suggested that we tell stories round the fire, which we well and did. I can't drink too much of this at one time because it's too effervescent, too fizzy. So tell stories we did. I can't quite remember what other stories were told, but really, I suppose his sort of stood out to me. And originally we were going to camp out on the land, in a tent and such, so that, we'd get the whole outdoors experience, or close as we could get to it, given our present situation. And so my brother, he's a wise arse. Really, really is. He kind of sort of took to my disapproval of the place, and fabricated this little ghost story, and said that 20 years ago, of whatever day it was that we were there, in 1992, something or other, a group of, I suppose a family or some or somebody had went to this place, Sundance Meadows, and had went up to store their RV in the graveyard, and I suppose I don't quite remember really how the story played out, but I do believe that somehow or other they ended up being ensconced in the that location at the very, at the, I suppose, the beginning of dusk. And so my brother, he says that at 9:15, they were all, I suppose, murdered or something or other by an unknown force. And he said that every night, or that every whatever night they were murdered or something or other, which is the night we were there, their spirits would come down from the graveyard at 9:15, 8:45, in a phantom RV, and wreak havoc upon the campers and such, and have just a wild ride. So me, being a sensible person, said that no, that's nonsense. There's no such thing as ghosts or anything of that nature. And ultimately dismissed the story. I suppose he told it at around 7:30, or maybe even 8. And wouldn't you know it, at 8:45, 8:45, there was seen from that graveyard a pair of headlights slowly descending into the campground and past it and out of the whole complex and into the mountains and such. And to be honest, I got chills. And when we were supposed to originally sleep outside under the stars, we ended up going back to the rooms and sleeping there. And I actually took a blunt instrument with me to defend myself with against these spirits. I don't know if you can see that or not, but there is a hair. Oh, there is a hair. Oh, it's right there. There's a hair in my sandwich. I guess she wasn't very careful in preparing these. I don't know. I don't really mind hair being in my food. It's not really a nuisance. But anyway, so yeah. And every night after that, whilst we were there, we continued to sleep in the bunkhouse. And, his story sort of rang true. Even though probably that RV was likely a real one, I still kind of had that subtle compunction about it. But anyway, that was my story, I suppose, about the Phantom RV, or something or other, and I hope you very much enjoyed it. I certainly enjoyed telling it, and I'm going to enjoy the rest of this sandwich, because this is It's wonderful. It's simply wonderful. And you all have yourselves a good evening.